Have you ever felt it? That while you waited with your heart in your hand, someone else conquered her effortlessly, that the more you tried to be the ideal man, the more invisible you became to her. This video isn't for men who want to play the game of appearances, it's for the ones ready to wake up. Because if you keep following the path they told you was right, I promise you one thing, they will break you. They told you to be kind, attentive, always present, to treat her like a queen, to never make her feel uncomfortable. They taught you that love is something you earn through effort, as if there was a medal waiting for good behavior. But what did you receive? Silence, ignored messages, smiles that ended in someone else's arms. It wasn't your fault, you were programmed to fail. Today, we're going to break that code. I will show you a technique Machiavelli understood 500 years ago, one he never dared to write down, because he knew how powerful and dangerous it truly was. This isn't about manipulating women, it's about freeing yourself from manipulation, the kind that begins inside your own illusions. This isn't a course of empty words, this is emotional surgery, and we are going to cut deep. Before I reveal the pillars, you must see what no one ever showed you. Imagine this, you're with her, you give her your best self, you're available. You understand her, you respect her, you could easily be the best man in her life. She smiles at you, and then she talks to you about him. The one who leaves her on red, the one who disappears for days, the one who comes back as if nothing happened. Why? Because there's a brutal truth almost no man dares to face. Women don't choose with logic, they choose with desire. And desire doesn't obey kindness or justice. It obeys power. It follows the aura of rarity. It burns for the fire it cannot control. And you, with your good intentions and unconditional love, you are not fire, you are lukewarm water. I know, it hurts. But that pain is necessary, because if you don't feel it now, you'll keep feeling it again, and again, and again. Every time you hand over your soul, hoping to be seen, let this be the last time you allow it. Because today, we're going to awaken something that has slept inside you, something you were taught to suppress. I'm not here to give you formulas for making women love you. I'm here to give you the map to become unforgettable. Machiavelli once wrote, "Men must be either feared or loved, but if you cannot be both, choose to be feared." Translated into the language of desire, if you cannot be the preferred one, then be the unforgettable one, the one who left a mark, the one she could never classify. And it all begins here, in the truth no one dares to tell you. Being good is not enough. Being predictable is your sentence. Now, observe yourself. Without judgment. What part of you has been domesticated? What part of you asked permission to love? Where did you learn that you had to earn what others received effortlessly? That inner voice that whispers, if I'm more attentive, more sensitive, more consistent, she'll finally choose me. That voice is lying. It's time to silence it. Because your true power isn't in how much you give, but in how much you provoke, in what you create without a single word, in what she feels when you enter a room without begging for her attention. That can't be trained with flowers. It's forged in fire. And today, we ignite that fire. Do you know what the greatest enemy of desire is? Predictability. When a woman can anticipate your every move, your message at 8 in the morning, your reaction to her excuses, your compliments that arrive on schedule, you lose the only thing that keeps her intrigued: mystery. And without mystery, there is no tension. Without tension, there is no spark. And without spark, there is no attraction. Think about it. When was the last time a woman truly surprised you? In a good way. That moment of uncertainty, that hesitation between taking the next step or waiting, that's the pulse of desire. That's the emotion you must learn to create. Not through manipulation, but through authenticity. Because real power isn't in showing how much you can give. It's in being so authentic that she can't predict your next move. Let me tell you something personal. Years ago, I was that man. The available one, the correct one, the one who listened and advised while others walked away with the story. Until one day, the woman I was ready to give everything to looked at me and said words that broke me and rebuilt me. "You're so good that I feel guilty for not loving you." Does that sound familiar? That was the day I stopped waiting. I began to observe, to study, to understand that behind every interaction lies a hidden code, that women respond not to logic, not to arguments, but to an energy they feel in their body. That's where I started discovering what you're about to learn in this video. But before we continue, you need to make a commitment to yourself. If you're here looking for a magic formula, this isn't your place. If you're here to fake a personality or play unethical games, it isn't either. But if you're ready to deprogram yourself, to confront your wounds, and rebuild from a truth stronger than any seduction trick, then this video can mark a before and after in your life. Today, we start from zero, like an architect who demolishes the old to build something new. It won't be easy. You'll feel resistance. Your mind will whisper that you're being cruel, that you'll lose her, that being yourself won't be enough. But that discomfort, that's where transformation begins. Because only by breaking your mold can you create a new version of yourself, a magnetic version. We're not going to rush. We move step by step. And the first step is this: accept that the game you were playing was designed for you to lose. That unconditional love, when it's not mutual, is self-abandonment. That constant attention, when it's not valued, becomes background noise. And that desire never comes from need. It comes from choice. Now follow me closely, because what comes next will not only change how women see you, but how you see yourself. For years, they told you that you'd be rewarded for being good. That if you were patient, attentive, and devoted, she'd notice. That if you were the first to write, the one who listened, the one who was always there, you'd be chosen. They convinced you that love is like an exam, and the one who tries hardest wins. But in the realm of desire, that logic isn't just false, it's destructive. Everything they taught you about how to make a woman like you was built by a society that rewards obedience, not desire. They taught you to be predictable, to follow a script, to turn yourself into a candidate, not a man. And do you know what all candidates have in common? They're replaceable, interchangeable, forgettable. Look around you. How many times have you seen an average man, no wealth, no status, attract women you thought were unreachable? And how many good men, with every trait of the perfect gentleman, are ignored, betrayed, or placed on indefinite hold? It's not coincidence. It's a pattern that hurts you every time you repeat it. Because feminine desire doesn't respond to logic, it responds to emotion. And you, with your strategy built on reason, are speaking a language she doesn't feel. The love she craves isn't safe. It's alive. It's not perfect. It's challenging. It's not constant. It's magnetic. But you followed the script. They taught you that availability is virtue, that always being there is a sign of commitment. But always being available means always being predictable. And the feminine mind shuts down in front of what it can predict. Remember this: women are not cruel. They're not playing with you for sport. What's happening runs deeper. When you present yourself as a man who'd do anything for her, before she's even chosen you, her instinct doesn't ignite. It shuts down. Because deep in her unconscious, a thought flickers. If he's this available, it must be because no one else desires him. And if no one else desires him, why should I? It's not evil, it's evolution. For thousands of years, women developed a radar for social value. And social value isn't measured by how much you give, but by how others perceive your worth. Desire is contagious. A desired man becomes more desired. A man who's overly available becomes invisible. And you're not invisible because you lack worth. You're invisible because you don't know how to display your value without giving it away. You've confused vulnerability with weakness, devotion with desperation, attention with the absence of boundaries. And every time you do that, you drain your own magnetism. Today, I want you to dismantle that lie, to stop seeking validation through good actions, to stop pouring your time, energy, and emotions into proving that you are the right one. Because the more you try to prove it, the more you confirm that you aren't. Here's the truth: you don't need to convince anyone. Your value is not demonstrated, it's perceived. That doesn't mean becoming cold, distant, or arrogant. It means recalibrating the source of your attention. Stop giving from the fear of losing her. Start giving from the center of your abundance. Stop being available so she'll choose you. Start showing that you also choose. Every time you feel the impulse to text her without reason, pause. Every time you want to send a gift just to see if she reacts, breathe. Every time you catch yourself thinking, maybe she'll change her mind if I change even more, observe that thought, because that pattern is your real enemy. The great lie they taught you was this: to make a woman like you, you must show her how much you're willing to do for her, but true attraction is not born from how much you do. It's born from how much you inspire. It's not about seeking her approval, it's about radiating a confidence that needs no explanation. When a man stands in his center, he doesn't chase, he doesn't convince, he simply is. His energy becomes an invitation, a signal, a frequency. And if she doesn't respond to that frequency, it's not rejection, it's natural selection. You're not here to force doors open, you're here to walk paths only the right woman will recognize. Love should never feel like a marketing campaign. You shouldn't have to sell yourself or discount your worth just to be noticed. Because when someone sees your presence as an offer always available, she'll never feel like she's gaining something rare. The right woman doesn't want you to kneel to prove your value. She wants to meet a man who stays standing even when she doubts, a man who doesn't crumble if he doesn't get a reply, who doesn't trade his dignity for a bit of attention. That's why today I want you to do something radical. Validate your own desire. Don't wait for her to confirm it. Don't hand your security to someone else. Because when a man becomes his own source of validation, something powerful happens. He stops attracting from need and starts radiating from wholeness. The next time you're in front of a woman you desire, don't think about how to impress her. Think about how to keep your center. Because the man who doesn't move for external validation projects the most power. And that power isn't forced. It's felt. It's respected. It's remembered. The great mistake they taught you was to turn yourself into a product. Today, I invite you to be a man again. To stop offering yourself. To be present, yes, but without losing yourself. To be open, but not surrendered by default. Because true love doesn't come from blind sacrifice. It's born from the meeting of two beings who have already chosen themselves. And it all begins with one moment, an instant where she expects the same as always. And something in you breaks the pattern. Pattern breaking is not a technique. It's a philosophy. It's the conscious decision to stop following the script because the script was written for you to be forgettable. And you did not come into this world to be another one. Think about it. How many times has a woman heard the same empty lines? Hi, how are you? You look beautiful today. Can I buy you a coffee? Dead words, emotional clones. Every time you repeat them, she doesn't see a man, she sees a formula. And formulas don't awaken desire. Formulas make her smile politely and forget you seconds later. Pattern breaking happens when you end that cycle, when you stop appearing as a man seeking approval and become an unexpected experience. And no, it's not about memorizing clever lines, it's about creating a spark, a small emotional short circuit that pulls her out of autopilot. Instead of saying, "You look beautiful," you could meet her gaze and say, "Your eyes look like they've seen something no one else would believe." You're not complimenting her beauty, you're awakening her imagination, you're creating intrigue. Because where there is mystery, tension is born. And where there is tension, desire begins to bloom. Most men try to make a woman like them by being just like the rest, only faster. But you're not here to compete in speed, you're here to be unforgettable. And the unforgettable is always different. That's what pattern breaking truly is, giving a moment such unique energy that she doesn't even know which box to place you in. Picture this, a party. She's surrounded by men with forced smiles and recycled compliments. But you walk past her, calm, collected, and simply say, "I don't know why, but you look like someone who could keep a dangerous secret." Then you walk away. No reaction, no waiting, no need. You simply plant a seed. And that seed, that impression, will grow in her mind because feminine desire is expansive. It lives in the subtle, in the pauses, in what is not said. When you interrupt her pattern, you give her unconscious mind something new to process. And in that processing, you begin to live inside her thoughts. But to reach that level, you must first escape your anxiety. Because anxiety is the killer of originality. When you're trying to be liked, you become predictable. You repeat what you think works. But when you are centered, grounded in yourself, your creativity awakens. Because you're no longer performing, you're expressing who you truly are. Pattern breaking isn't just verbal, it's energetic. It's in how you move, how you pause before speaking, how you hold her gaze without invading. It's that air of controlled unpredictability that says, "I'm not in a hurry, I'm not here to conquer you, I'm here because I choose to be." And do you know what that creates? Attraction, not because of what you say, but because of what you represent. You represent an anomaly, something that doesn't repeat, something she can't fully understand. And in the feminine emotional world, mystery is magnetic. When you apply the pattern break, you stop being the interviewee waiting to be chosen, and you become the mystery she isn't sure she can solve. That changes everything. You're no longer one among many, you become the exception, and the exceptional never goes unnoticed. Remember this: what creates desire is not the obvious, but the intriguing, not the explicit, but the implied, not what's expected, but what breaks expectation. When she can't classify you, when she can't predict you, her mind opens. And when her mind opens, her desire begins to bloom. You don't need to be perfect, you need to be different. You don't need rehearsed lines, you need presence. Because the pattern break isn't an act, it's the natural state of a man who no longer needs approval to exist. Start playing with this. Every time you're about to speak, ask yourself, has she heard this before? If the answer is yes, take another path. You don't need to be strange, just authentic. An authentic man is so rare, he breaks patterns simply by existing in his truth. And remember, you can break patterns with silence too. You don't need to fill every space with words. Sometimes, a well-held silence, a pause before you respond, creates more tension than any clever line. Because silence makes her think. And when a woman thinks, she begins to imagine. And when she imagines, you enter her inner world. Breaking the pattern also means talking about what no one else dares to. Instead of asking, "What do you do for a living?" you could say, "What part of you haven't you shown today? The part people wouldn't understand even if you did." That's how you become unforgettable. Not by trying harder, but by showing her something she's never felt before. Again, you're not trying to impress her, you're trying to resonate, to pull her out of the surface. Because when someone associates you with depth, an emotional bond is created. The key is not fearing a little discomfort, not disrespectfully, but authentically. Because if your words don't provoke any kind of internal reaction, you've left no mark. And you're not here to pass unnoticed, you're here to leave a mark. To create an emotional anomaly that forces her to recalibrate everything she thought she understood about men. This isn't a game, it's a practice. It demands observation, presence, and a touch of courage. But once you master it, the world changes. You stop being a man trying to fit in and become the one who shifts how she perceives the masculine itself. She'll remember all the ones who told her what she wanted to hear, but she'll never forget the one who made her feel something new. Because the pattern break isn't just a strategy, it's a declaration. It's the moment you stop being one more and become her exception. And in the emotional world, that changes everything. She may forget what you said, but she'll never forget how you made her feel. That is the essence of magnetic presence. It's not about words. It's about energy. It's about what you communicate when you're not speaking. It's the invisible imprint you leave just by walking into a room. Magnetic presence isn't about being extroverted. You don't need to speak loudly, gesture excessively, or dominate the conversation. In fact, the most magnetic men are often the quietest. But when they speak, everyone listens. Because they don't seek attention, they project intention. A man with magnetic presence doesn't walk in seeking approval. He enters as if he himself were the prize, as if his very existence were enough. He doesn't justify himself, he doesn't ask for permission to exist. He inhabits himself completely, and it shows. Watch how he moves. No nervous tics, no wasted gestures. Every motion has purpose, every step, rhythm. His straight back isn't arrogance, it's mastery. His gaze doesn't hide, but it doesn't invade. It's presence without pressure, power without imposition. And how is that presence built? It's not something you're born with, it's something you cultivate, and it starts from within. Your breathing is your anchor. A man who breathes slowly and deeply radiates calm, security, direction. A man who breathes fast and shallow radiates anxiety, neediness, urgency. Then, your gaze. The man with presence doesn't scan the room hunting for attention. He observes, he detects, he chooses. And when he makes eye contact, he holds it calmly, without expectation. Because he's not hunting, he's feeling. Your voice is part of your aura too. The tone doesn't matter, congruence does. Speak from your diaphragm, not from your throat. Use pauses, because the one who controls the rhythm controls the conversation. Do not fear silence. Insecure men fill it with words. Magnetic men rule it with pauses. And above all, congruence. If your body says one thing and your words say another, she feels the dissonance. If you talk about confidence while your shoulders shrink, If you claim you don't seek approval, but your eyes chase her validation every 5 seconds, your energy fractures, and she senses it instantly. That's why your energy must be one. What you feel inside must mirror what you show outside. Magnetic presence isn't a mask, it's the reflection of internal coherence, the mark of a man who has looked into himself without fear and decided to inhabit his own being completely. Remember this, you don't need to impress, you need to impact. And impact doesn't come from what you do, it comes from what you are, from the solidity of your core, from the strength of your center. When you are aligned with yourself, everything in you becomes a language. Your walk, your silence, your tone, your intention. And that language, without a single word, is what ignites something deep within her. Because feminine desire is sensory. And when you inhabit your body with confidence, you become a sensory experience. A presence she cannot ignore. This doesn't mean you never feel fear or nerves. It means you don't run from them. You don't hide them. You breathe inside them. You choose to respond, not react. That is magnetism. It's not the absence of vulnerability, it's mastery over it. True magnetic presence doesn't shout. It whispers. It doesn't invade, it seduces. It doesn't control, it invites. And that invitation is powerful because it comes from a man who no longer seeks approval, who no longer performs to please, who simply is. And that kind of being, rare in today's world, is irresistible. You can cultivate it every single day. When you walk, feel your weight. When you speak, feel your voice. When you look, feel your energy. When you shower, feel yourself. When you sit in silence, observe yourself. Because the connection you build with yourself is the foundation of every connection others will feel with you. She's not looking for a spectacle. She's looking for authenticity. She's searching for a man who can hold her intensity without losing himself. And that man doesn't need to be perfect. He only needs to be present, real, whole, impossible to ignore. That man can be you, not because you learned something new, but because you remembered who you were before the world made you doubt your power. Think of the men you've admired most, in movies, in life, in your own story. What did they have in common? It wasn't just what they said, it was how they said it. It was the calm in their face, the firmness in their posture, the silence that felt comfortable. Their presence spoke louder than words. Now ask yourself, what kind of presence do you project? Do you enter spaces as if you need permission, or as if you already own your place in them? Because it doesn't matter where you are, a bar, a meeting, a street, your energy always arrives before your words. A man with magnetic presence doesn't compete, he doesn't compare, he doesn't react, he creates, he inspires, he impacts. Because his life doesn't revolve around being validated, it revolves around being aligned. And that is what makes him deeply, quietly, unshakably attractive. Another key lies in how you manage your attention. You can be with a woman without needing to constantly validate her. You can look at her, listen to her, without losing your center to a smile or a flirtatious gesture. Because that's where most men fall. They crumble at the first sign of acceptance. But you don't. You learn to stay firm, even in the fire. That emotional stability, that ability to hold your own value without depending on the reflection she gives you, creates the most powerful form of attraction. Because while others fall apart, you remain. While others try to impress, you simply breathe. And that unsettles her. It intrigues her. It attracts her. There is nothing more magnetic than a man who refuses to be dragged by the emotion of the moment and instead responds from his center. And that ability, it's not learned overnight. It's trained. It's cultivated. Every conscious breath is another brick in the construction of your presence. So start today. You don't need anything external. Just stop, breathe, inhabit yourself. And from that connection, from that calm, you begin to project something that cannot be faked. Authenticity, and the truth, in a world full of masks, is the most seductive thing you can offer. Most men believe that when the connection feels strong, they need to capitalize on it. That if she's responding with enthusiasm, they must keep talking, keep writing, keep pushing to see how far it goes. But that's where the trap is. Because when you give everything at the highest moment, you destroy the mystery, you break the tension, you suffocate the desire. That's when strategic withdrawal becomes essential. a move that seems counterintuitive but triggers a powerful emotional response. It's the art of leaving exactly when everything is going well, of ending the conversation at its peak, not to punish her, not to manipulate her, but to leave an imprint, to leave a silence that makes her wonder. Because what's left unsaid echoes louder than anything you could have explained. Imagine this. You're having an intense, fluent conversation, eyes meeting, energy flowing effortlessly. Everything feels aligned, and right there, you say quietly, "I'd love to keep talking with you, but I have to go. I really enjoyed this moment." Then you leave. She's left with something unfinished, an open loop her mind will try to close. And even though you're gone, you remain, not physically, but emotionally. Because desire grows in absence, in uncertainty, in what wasn't said. When you disappear at just the right moment, you leave behind a story without an ending, and the human mind hates open endings. That's why she keeps thinking of you. Her unconscious wants to finish the story, but you're not there to give her closure. You exist now in her imagination, and that is far more powerful than any physical presence could ever be. This strategy isn't cruelty, it's respect. Respect for your time, your value, your discipline. Respect for your ability to not give yourself away just because the connection feels good. Men who give everything too soon exhaust their power. Men who know when to withdraw create addiction. But mastery isn't just about leaving, it's also about knowing when to return. That's where calculated initiative comes in, the art of advancing without invading, of leading without domination, of moving the dance of desire without losing attunement to her rhythm. Calculated initiative isn't impulsive pursuit, it's reading her nonverbal language, her body, her tone, her gestures. It's knowing she's receptive even before she knows it, and acting from instinct, not anxiety. It's like tango. The man leads, but only through the silent complicity of the one who allows herself to be led. You don't push, you don't pressure, you invite. And in that invitation, there is firmness, yet listening, decision, yet sensitivity, confidence without aggression. Most men fail here because they move from insecurity. They ask, "Can I kiss you? Can I hold your hand? Can I get closer?" It sounds respectful, but it kills the tension. Because passion doesn't live in logic, it lives in instinct, in the unspoken, in what's felt beyond words. Touching her hand at the right moment, leaning in when her pupils dilate, kissing her when her body subtly leans toward you. None of this requires permission, if you've read the moment correctly. That is calculated initiative, the art of moving without asking, while reading every signal like a map. And here lies the key. When you combine strategic withdrawal with calculated initiative, you create an emotional dance that is impossible to resist. She never knows when you'll return, but when you do, every gesture carries intention. Every word feels deliberate, every look feels designed. And that keeps her in a constant state of anticipation. Men who understand this don't need to be handsome, rich, or famous. They only need to master the rhythm, to know when to give, when to stay silent, when to advance, and when to disappear. That rhythm isn't learned in a day. It's learned by observing, by practicing, and above all, by being guided by intuition, not need. When you master that rhythm, you create an atmosphere, a dance between fire and ice, between closeness and distance, between yes and almost. And that's what keeps the spark alive, not because you're performing, but because you're present. Because you don't need to force anything anymore. You've become a man who knows exactly when to appear and when to vanish. That mastery of rhythm, that awareness of your energy, that ability to move with pure intention. That's what makes you unforgettable. But understand something deeper. This is not about playing with her emotions, it's about mastering your own. The man who withdraws strategically doesn't do it to control her. He does it because he's no longer controlled by his anxiety. He's detached from outcomes, anchored in peace, rooted in his abundance, in his value, in his rhythm. And that is what truly attracts. Because you no longer live as a slave to yes or no, you've become the owner of the when. You don't advance because you fear losing her. You move when the moment feels right. And when she senses that, everything changes. Because you're no longer there to validate yourself through her attention, you're there to share your presence from a place of freedom. Calculated initiative requires something almost no one trains: emotional patience. The ability to hold the tension without breaking it, to not rush, to not skip stages, to understand that every glance, every silence, every pause builds a staircase toward the inevitable. Sometimes the most powerful thing is not touching her, but stopping right before. Not kissing her, but being so close that both of you feel it, and neither says a word. That space between desire and action is where true magnetism is born. And above all, do not obsess over when to act. Observe yourself, feel, remain, because when you are in connection with yourself, the right moment reveals itself, and you'll know. It won't be your mind that decides, it will be your energy, your body, your intuition. Strategic withdrawal and calculated initiative are the two wings of the same flight. One without the other does not work. If you only withdraw, you become a ghost. If you only act, you become predictable. But if you flow between both, you become art. An emotional experience she will remember long after you've gone. And that is seduction. You made it here. Not everyone does. Many turn away before reaching the end, unable to face their reflection without filters, without excuses. But you're still here, because something inside you has already begun to change. You can feel it, subtle but alive, like a seed breaking through the soil from within. And that is the most important part. You are no longer the same man who started this video, because now, you know. And once you know, you can never go back. You cannot unhear what already echoes inside you, like an ancient drum, a voice whispering, "It's time." It's time to stop begging for attention. It's time to stop living trapped inside scripts written by others. This method isn't just about women. It's about you, about your relationship with yourself, about how you walk through the world, how you inhabit your own body, how you finally decide to become the protagonist of your own story. Because when you change from the root, everything around you begins to respond differently. It's not about pretending, it's not about seeming, it's about recovering your center, deprogramming every idea that made you feel insufficient, guilty, or weak for desiring. Desire is not the problem. Misguided desire is, and you're already learning how to direct it. Remember this, seduction is not convincing, it's not conquering. Seduction is inspiring. It's provoking a response, a vibration, an emotional transformation in whoever perceives you. But to do that, you must first seduce yourself. Return to yourself, to your power, to your natural magnetism, to your truth. Because a man who's reconnected with his truth doesn't need techniques. He only needs presence. He doesn't need lines, he needs direction. He doesn't need to chase, because now he is the man who is followed. And that is what this method awakens. Not an actor memorizing gestures, but a man remembering who he is. A man who knows when to speak and when to stay silent. When to advance and when to withdraw. When to give and when to hold his energy like a sacred offering that not everyone deserves. Today, this video ends, but something deeper begins. Your reset. The moment you stop acting from reaction and begin creating from intention. The moment you stop seeking approval and begin embodying your vision. Do not seek to change women. Do not seek to control them. Do not seek to manipulate. Seek to understand yourself, to govern yourself, to refine yourself. Because when you do, the world mirrors that back to you with a different light. Machiavelli once said, "The one who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command." And that doesn't mean being a tyrant, it means leading your life, taking command, leaving behind the role of victim, becoming cause, not effect. And that, brother, that is where true seduction begins. This is your moment, not to change for them, but to awaken for yourself. So that when a woman looks at you, she doesn't just see a body, a smile, or a tactic. She sees something more. Something she cannot explain, cannot label, cannot forget. And when that happens, you are no longer playing. You are creating reality. You are shaping energy. You are inspiring desire, not for what you do, but for what you are. If this message has resonated with you, if it has reached deep into you, then write in the comments, "The void is my power." That will be our secret code, the symbol of those who no longer seek to fill themselves with others' attention, but who have learned to transform the void into personal power. And if you want to go deeper, If you want the next video to reveal how to use this method in the first 24 hours after meeting her, subscribe now, because that will be the real battlefield. That's where everything is won or lost. Like the video, share it with that friend who needs it, even if he doesn't know it yet. And above all, never forget this. The true Machiavellian isn't the one who manipulates others. It's the one who has stopped being manipulated by his own insecurities. You've already awakened. Now act from that place. But remember, this doesn't end here, because real change begins the moment you turn off this video and face yourself. When you're alone, when the old voices return, the whispers of doubt, of fear, of programming, telling you that you're not enough. That's when you remember everything, every word, every principle, every truth that shattered your illusions. Because that battle is not one with motivational quotes, it's one with decisions. Small ones, daily ones, but sacred ones. Deciding not to react from need, deciding not to chase what doesn't resonate with your essence, deciding to look in the mirror and see not the man you were, but the man you are becoming, and you won't walk this path alone. Because there are others like you, men who have awakened, men who have stopped being puppets of their impulses, men who now walk as creators of their own destiny. This brotherhood is not made of perfect winners, it's made of conscious warriors, men who feel, men who fall, men who doubt, but who no longer surrender, men who every single day choose to raise their standard. So make yourself a promise today. The most important of all, you will never give yourself away in crumbs again. You will never beg for a place in anyone's life again. Because now you know your energy, your attention, your presence are sacred, and they will only be shared with someone who values them as the treasure they are. When that becomes your new standard, you won't need to flirt. You won't need to impress. You will be whole, non-negotiable, unforgettable. That is your new identity. That is your new reality. And soon, the world will treat you exactly as you treat yourself. So do it, with greatness, with compassion, with fire. And if no one has told you this today, hear it now. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be desired, not for what you do, but for what you are. You are no longer playing to be liked. You are walking toward your greatness. And now, go out there and let the world feel it. Let them see what silence has built. Let them see what fire has forged, because you are no longer waiting for permission. You are the permission, you are the proof, you are the presence. Now go and let the world know it.